take everything on down and be like short.
This is a real hedge fund manager
dollars,
speaking.
and I'm going to sit here and wait. I'll get you your crypto back.
Cody's
and
the suits.
Yo, hedgies, am I right?
Right? What are you making jokes about me for, man?
Well, let's have someone actually explain why does blockchain, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, why do those things matter and how do they even connect?
So Bitcoin was actually basically what really introduced blockchain into the world in 2008, which is on the cusp of the last financial crisis. A blockchain is basically, so you can otherwise call it a digital ledger, right? A ledger is a record of transactions. So a blockchain is a digital record of transactions.
The central banks, they are like what you're talking about. They're the ledger.
Right.
The central bank is the one who says, hey, this money exists over here and that money exists over here and that guy sent it over there and now we're going to clear all of that. By reducing and eliminating the need for that central bank, a central anything, and making it that everybody is tracking everything, there is no need for the central bank. And the next brilliant part of the Bitcoin thing was he said, look, there will only be, 22 million or something
21 million,
Bitcoins that will ever exist.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, you don't have the opportunity, like the central banks do, of printing more currency. So while here in the United States, we recognize that, the bank crisis or even during the pandemic, the money that was printed, the money that was borrowed, the money that was put into the systems is arbitrary. It just was invented willy-nilly. Hey, it exists now. That we all recognize is not fair. Imagine going to Argentina or Iraq or somewhere that truly has suffered through these great inflationary periods where the currency is completely devalued. So even if you're a millionaire in one of those countries, you're just sitting there the entire time trying to figure out, how do I get my money out of this country and out of this currency? By creating a fair and transparent and no central requirement at all currency, we've eliminated so much of that.
You touched on something, Cody, that I really want to go back to. So they call it debasing a currency, where you're overprinting a currency because it's so easy to. Because back in the day, when people used gold, silver, copper as currencies or embedded them in currencies, those are not, copper is more easy, silver is harder than copper, but gold is very hard to find. It's rare. You can't just print it out of thin air. It's finite. So all these things, if anybody has a simple understanding of economics, they know that if you have a low supply and high demand, you have a high price. So it makes sense that you were like, how does this work? If we're printing, the money supply has almost doubled within the past couple of years alone. That's insane.
Well, and the Federal Reserve literally tells you that they have a target rate of inflation of 2 to 3%. Which they're literally like, look, we're going to make sure we screw everybody who saves their money. Or we all can sit around and look at them and we're like, we need something else. So thusly, Bitcoin, or at least some other alternative. Bitcoin looks like it's one, but it's not over yet.
So how do you make distinct or tell the difference between something like Dogecoin versus XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin? What can I actually transact with versus what should I not transact with?
Yeah, let me hop in there real quick. So it's widely understood, and for people that are just learning about crypto and getting into the crypto space, Bitcoin is often compared to like modern gold. Gold, there's a finite number of gold in the world, until we go and blow up, asteroids in outer space and produce gold. Shout out Elon Musk. Until we start doing that, there's a finite amount of gold in the world. Similar to Bitcoin, there's a finite number of Bitcoin in the world. We cannot just make more. There's 21 million Bitcoin in the world. And it goes up in value the more people prescribe to it. So similar to gold, if people believe that gold has a value to it,
a store of value,
a store of value,
that's
and people prescribe to the idea that gold has value, then it just simply does. It's called Metcalfe's theory. The more people that believe that, the more it will go up in value. Similar to Bitcoin, it's a digital version of gold, and people argue it's better because I can just store it in my digital wallet. I don't have to actually.
So why does Tesla and Bank of America and others say, oh, you can transact with Bitcoin now, when people should just hold it? It sounds like.
So my opinion, you should not use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. You should what we like to call HODL, Bitcoin in the crypto world. If you look at the graph just from the last 10 years, Bitcoin is basically doing this. Now, it's not a straight up line. It's very, very, very volatile.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say is Bitcoin is a comparison to gold, where you take Ethereum, and Ethereum often gets compared to as like oil, where it has more purposes behind it. You can do more things with Ethereum.
So why is this important to the average American? Why should they care? Why can't they just think, oh, well, the government will figure it out. I'll just live in my little box.
Eventually, the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar, the reserve currency of the world, look, if you want to buy oil from Saudi Arabia and you're in a giant country, you have to buy dollars before you can get the oil. And so there's this artificial demand for dollars all the time. That's why, again, we're the cleanest shirt in the laundry of fiat currencies. Well, if the U.S. dollar is doomed, what does that say for the United States? And I said, well, frankly, maybe it's the greatest thing that could ever happen to our country, because you won't be able to artificially print money to fund wars. You can't artificially print money for trillionaire bankers and make people always talk about how the Federal Reserve is supposed to fix the wealth gap. No. The wealth gap is exacerbated by these economic policies.
Yes,
they always are. The Republicans and the Democrats, the Federal Reserve, all of this entire system is what creates and exacerbates the wealth gap as we see it in this country. You eliminate all of that, and you have some sense of less debt, less corruption, less opportunity for corruption. The entire world, but specifically the United States, would probably be much better off.
Absolutely. Because when you look at Bitcoin, it's literally as if it is the best way you can actually make something decentralized. Because I know you're passionate about Ethereum and there's other cryptocurrencies like XRP, but you can point to somebody and say, this is the head of that. Like Vitalik Buterin. Vitalik, he is the head of Ethereum. You can look, oh, he's the CEO of that, or he's the head of that. With Bitcoin, there's no one you can point to because he literally, and you can't even write this stuff. He disappeared. He, she, they disappeared. They.
It's got to be a they.
Hopefully, and shoot, Satoshi Nakamoto could literally be a Nigerian for all we know. Like, so it's
wait. So why does it matter that the founder of it is anonymous?
Because there's no one person that can manipulate it or corrupt it. Exactly. And it's not even that he's just anonymous. It's that the Bitcoin network has expanded so much, but in a very paced amount of time that there's so many different people that are now buying into this network. So if one person does something, it's not going to change everything because it has to be verified by basically everybody else. And that means a lot.
How would you answer the question of, wait, isn't this just a fad? Like, what if it is just a fad? Does any of this matter? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on this?
It's not a fad.
Why do you say that?
Crypto in general, it already has provided a solution and has a community of skilled people. It's not like idiots are out here mining Bitcoin. Like, these are skilled cryptographic professionals, right? Like, this is a built ecosystem. Once Bitcoin hits, I think it's 380K. It would now equate to the market value of the gold that we know that's in circulation.
Wow.
At this point, too, I think the biggest threat that people think there is to Bitcoin is regulation. The governments around the world going, no, you can't do this.
You mean like the SEC? Like who?
I think it would have to be legislated by the Republican Democrat regime, and they'd have to, convince their constituents that. But I think the cat's out of the bag.
It's too late.
When Kramer owns crypto on CNBC,
Goldman
Sachs is issuing reports about how to make money, and Anthony Scaramucci's giant fund of funds has a Bitcoin fund now. Like, I don't think you can put the cat back in the bag at this point. I think crypto is no longer can be a fad. I think
exactly.
It's past the point of critical mass. It's real.
So it's not like countries have not tried to ban Bitcoin before. Nigeria has banned Bitcoin. I think India banned Bitcoin. It's not centralized. You can't ban it as hard as you try. Because if you look at it now, Nigeria is the #1 peer-to-peer Bitcoin trader. Like, they have the most peer-to-peer Bitcoin traders in the world. The most Bitcoin has been traded in Nigeria, peer-to-peer, not even through exchanges, in the world. And that's a country that banned it. Their central bank banned it.
So what does the world look like where Bitcoin is widely adopted, and like even my mom uses it?
I would assume it's just a little more virtuous because there's just less corruption and less war.
Yeah.
Like there's less debt. There's less of opportunity for governments to repress their people and manipulate their currencies to the unfair advantage of a few.
So does it look like not one world order, but like a one world currency? Like, what does that look like? Would it be replacing USD as kind of the international sort of thing? Or
yeah, I do think that's the end game of there will be a cryptocurrency. It's always surprising to me that China actually is. They haven't banned cryptocurrency, but they're what do you call it? Saber rattling about maybe banning cryptocurrency and doing some things that are anti-crypto. But to me, it seems to me, if you were China and Russia, the easiest way to attack the United States dominance would be like, guess what? If you guys want to buy anything from us, if you want to trade with us, we only take Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And if oil, you want to buy hey, Europe, if you want to buy natural gas from Russia, we only accept Bitcoin.
Tell them, Cody.
The U.S. dollar... Like, what happens at that point? Then Iran could be like, we only accept Bitcoin.
Wow.
Our enemies could use Bitcoin against us, but again, in the end, without control of the currencies controlling your economies and societies, there's less opportunity to create wars and controls against mankind's prosperity and just, peer-to-peer interaction. And I think that's always what our goal is, right? Like freedom is better than oppression, and so that's where we go. One world order is the scariest part of it, though. Is honestly that's a threat. Like, do you not think that a one world currency creates risks that are scary? It probably does.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a better world than it is right now, but there are certainly inherent risks in one world currency.
Do you think that the U.S. government is doing anything to anticipate or defend themselves in the future? Okay, like what?
Yeah,
what are they doing?
So the U.S., and we all know this game is played way above our heads.
Yeah.
Like a central bank digital currency has been in the cards for years. And I know they've been I actually attended a conference. They're working with Accenture a little bit on it, and partially Ripple. So they're ahead of this. And Jerome Powell he said it. They were like, yeah, we're working on a digital dollar. Like they're working on a blockchain-based digital currency. And a lot of countries are. I think China has one, like a digital yuan that they're planning as well.
But what does that even mean? Like,
it doesn't really
to me,
matter.
It's like,
honestly,
if it's actually a
doesn't.
blockchain-based yuan, then
Like,
it's just a crypto.
it
Like
doesn't
there's no
matter.
control.
Yeah.
If it's blockchain-based, they're like, I guess what you would have to do, and I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm actually just trying to ask the question.
No,
like,
please.
What does it mean when Powell is like? I think this every time I see him say it. He's like, we're going to have a digital dollar. I'm like, basically, you got a digital dollar right now, and all you're saying is you're going to put it on a blockchain and create a bunch of rules in the blockchain that keep your power.
Exactly.
And nobody's going to buy into that.
And just to inform, those, like, I'm talking like regular schmegular people who like probably heard about Bitcoin here and there, maybe even scared of it, is that literally Bitcoin, it's a deflationary asset in that it has a set max that will ever exist, 21 million Bitcoins. Over 19 million of them have already been mined. That means they're circulated, right? So that leaves 2 million left. Bitcoin has intertwined in it a program that it's halved. The rewards that miners get for helping the system run cuts in half every 4 years It's called a halving, which helps drive the price even higher. So if you store all your wealth in simply dollars, right? And dollars get debased and the purchasing power goes way low versus an asset that is increasing in purchasing power, it's very simple to why it would be risky to not have it. And that's my take.
I'm curious where y'all think we're at on in terms of adoption. Like, are we still early adopters in 2021?
I would say so.
I think so. The U.S. dollar, I gladly accept it still. I gladly save in it still. I don't hate the dollar. I am like, hey, if people are like cash is trash, I'm like, well, give me your trash.
I'll take it. I'm the garbage man.
That's right. I'm a garbage man. Love it. Yeah, I'll dumpster dive for your dollar.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said that, look, you don't just think that the dollar is worthless all of a sudden.
Right.
It doesn't work like that either. It's going to be okay for a long time to come.
Yeah. And by the way, for those listening, you can have a fraction of a Bitcoin. So you don't need to be like, oh, I can't save up enough for one Bitcoin.
Oh my gosh, that's a huge.
You buy
Yeah.
$1 of
That's
Bitcoin.
huge.
Yeah.
That's all you like. Literally,
It's
I mean,
it's unit. Just real quick, it's like it's unit bias, right? That we think that Bitcoin is too expensive now because it's 45K. But if you say Ripple, they're like, oh, it's $1. I can make more money. Human psychology really runs any asset that, you know, it goes up and down when it comes to, you know, buying and selling it. So if you look at it that way, you really can just set a sustainable plan to just increase over time, hedge your risk, and you know, just get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say just as a disclaimer, like if you use this as a get rich quick scheme,
It's
you
not that.
will get burnt.
Yeah.
You will get burnt.
Yeah.
And so you need to have a long-term mindset. I'm planning on playing and swing trading and making some sort of moves here in the short
I
term.
would love to swing trade if I could short. I wish there was an exchange that I could go to and be like, I am betting against. You know, I'd literally take
Dogecoin.
the top. Well, no, I would take the top 20 cryptos and not mess with them.
Yeah.
And then I'd just pretty much take everything on down and be like, short, short, short. Let me borrow that from you.
Yeah.
Sell it to you for dollars.
This is a real
I'm gonna
hedge
take
fund
your
manager.
dollars, and I'm going to sit here and wait with my dollars, and someday I'll give it back to you. Don't worry, I'll get you your crypto back.
Cody's
and then
the
someday I
suits.
come
Yo,
back to
hedgies, am I
you,
right?
right? But that's what you do. Then I come back to you and buy
Suits are speaking.
it to me for a lot less of those dollars, and that's what I would like to do. It's just not real.
Oh, man.
What are you making jokes about me for, man?
I mean,
It's real.
these aren't jokes.
No, this is real. This is real.
Yeah.
We talk very. I feel like we talk very confidently in light of the two primary cryptocurrencies, which are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Once you start getting past
Ripple's
once you,
legit.
there's a few.
Like
Yeah.
the top 10 or 15.
Top-
on that
top-
computer.
top-
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't doubt those.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
by the way, there are some. Like, I own Helium, which is
Right.
HNT. It's a.
Yep.
I have a
It's an
Helium
ecosystem,
miner.
yeah.
Like, it's not like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
anti all of it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. One thing I would wish I could have advised myself 5 years earlier was just start smaller. If you're going to dabble with it, start smaller. Don't be super just bullish on something you're not really informed about. You will think this all later.
And you'll sell when it crashes because you have no conviction.
Yeah.
You don't know you're
Yeah.
something. So.
Cool. Any other last words?
Just be careful.
Yeah.
Please be careful out there. Money, whatever form of wealth you have,
Yeah.
protect it.
Yeah.
My last words are buy Bitcoin.